Having the release date of Pokemon Sun and Moon being just under a month away, I decided to play through all of the main series Pokemon games for fun. And while I was planning out my team for my Pokemon Crystal playthrough, I realized that I needed a fire type. So I went looking for one, and I was shocked when I saw that Slugma and Magcargo were obtainable Pokemon. Up until that point, I thought that Slugma and Magcargo were Generation 3 Pokemon.
Actually, you're not alone. I think we both forgot that Slugma and Magcargo were a Generation 2 Pokemon because they're only available in the Kanto region post-game.
Oh, yeah, you're here. Anyways, today my good friend Woopsire and I are going to be looking at some Pokemon that people think are from different regions.
But first, we need to explain that we understand you might know that these Pokemon are from the region that they're actually from, and if you do, well, here's a gold star. Good for you. The Pokemon we are listing off are based off of personal mistakes and or common mistakes by the community or our friends. Let us know down in the comments if there are any Pokemon that you mixed up throughout the generation and placed them in a different region.
Remember guys, this video was all in good fun. Nobody is perfect, so if you think one of the misconceptions on this list is dumb, just laugh at it. Also, make sure you guys go over to Woopsire's channel after you watch this video to see some more Pokemon that people think are from different regions. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. First up, we have the evolution line that was mentioned earlier in the video, Slugma and Magcargo. When I found out these Pokemon were actually introduced in Generation 2, I was shocked. I mean, you can't really blame me. I've played through the Johto region before, but I've never actually took the time to beat the Kanto region post-game. Also, whenever I think of Slugma or Magcargo, I always think of Flannery in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald in her Slugma. I don't understand why I never knew these Pokemon were from the Johto region because I actually am a huge fan of both Slugma and Magcargo. But with that still being a factor, I can't help but associate Slugma and Magcargo with the Hoenn region.
Next up, we have Marill, or more infamously called Pikachu Blue. Marill is a Pokemon from the Johto region that used to be heavily associated with the Kanto region. The reason why Marill was so associated with the Kanto region is because Marill made an appearance in the first Pokemon movie that was released in Japan way before its release in the US. Screenshots of new Pokemon made their way to magazines and such, and it became a playground myth that Marill was the evolution of Pikachu or Raichu when you use a Water Stone on it. And somewhat looking like a blue Pikachu, the legend of Pikachu Blue was born. Keep in mind that at the same time of this, Pokemon Gold and Silver had not been released yet. Now, this is not a Pokemon that Supra or I got confused about, but all the controversy that it caused a long time ago made it kind of hard not to include in this video.
Next up, we have a Pokemon that I bet some people not only don't know what region it's from, but forgot about entirely, and that is Chimecho. Chimecho was a Pokemon from the Hoenn region, but is commonly thought to be from the Sinnoh region. Now, this isn't that crazy of a mix-up, being that Chimecho was only found in the 3rd gen games at Mount Pyre, and not only that, but it has a 2% encounter rate, so as long as you're not hunting for a Chimecho, it would be pretty hard to randomly stumble upon it. Now, Chimecho was still rather hard to encounter in the Sinnoh region, but Chimecho also received a pre-evolution in 4th gen being Chingling, so with the release of the new Pokemon that isn't hard to find, it's pretty easy to think Chimecho was also introduced in the same generation as Chingling.
Next up, we have Woobuffet. Woobuffet is a Pokemon that was introduced in the Johto region, but is commonly thought to be a 3rd generation Pokemon. Just like Chimecho, Woobuffet is not that easy to find in its original game, and in Pokemon Gold and Silver, Woobuffet can only be found in the Dark Cave with an encounter rate of 15%. In Pokemon Crystal, this is the same, but with the addition of Woobuffet being obtainable at the Game Corner in Goldenrod City. In Generation 3, however, Woobuffet can be found in the Safari Zone, and let's be honest, is a player more likely to explore a dark cave where they may encounter a Woobuffet, but, well, in all honesty, probably just spray a repel to avoid all those Zubats, or the Safari Zone where they can find some really cool items and wild Pokemon. Yeah, I'm thinking the Safari Zone. Therefore, the player will most likely encounter a Woobuffet in Generation 3, without even having seen a Woobuffet in Generation 2. With all that in mind, I can definitely see why some people may think Woobuffet is a Generation 3 Pokemon.
And last but not least, we have 2 Pokemon from the Johto region that, just like Woobuffet, are sometimes thought to be from Generation 3 and are also found in the Hoenn Safari Zone. These Pokemon are Natu and Xatu. Now, I'll admit it, I thought both of these Pokemon were from the Hoenn region, and I really hope I'm not alone on that, but allow me to explain my reasoning. In the Johto region, Natu is found outside of the Ruins of Alth with a shocking 90% encounter rate. So yeah, no idea how I missed that. But anyways, when I was younger, I never really paid much attention to the Ruins of Alth. I remember I went there and entered one of those temple things, completed a puzzle, fell down, literally only found unknowns, left, and then never came back. But I remember I used to always run into Natus while going through the Safari Zone in the Hoenn region. So I think you can see where I'm coming from on this one.
Well, that's gonna do it for this part of the video. Make sure you guys head on over to my channel to check out the other part of this video.
And make sure you guys leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more Pokemon content. Peace out, guys.